What's up guys, Denis and Neil here at Trench Fitness, and today I just wanted to do a quick video on one way that you can really quickly improve your training and efficiency in the gym without a lot of effort, and that's in terms of footwear.
So we're going to be talking about footwear and the best choice you can make for footwear in terms of improving your weight training. So whether that's Olympic lifting, squatting, deadlifting, things like that, and kind of the best choice that you can make to give you the most power, to develop the most strength, and to create the most stability. Because the one thing that we see is when people come into the gym, they're choosing a running shoe or a shoe that might be more so designed for running type activities when it might not be appropriate for squatting and deadlifting and things like that.
Yeah, so super common is to see something like this guy here, like a basketball shoe, general training shoe. You'll see the raised heel, tons of support. That is meant to cushion forces, right? To minimize that impact. But what you're doing is when you try to direct impact into the floor, you're taking a lot of that power away. So a quick little demo is we got our AirX balance pads here, which are great at minimizing force. But if you think about standing on these and then trying to do a heavy squat, well, they're taking away all of your power. When you try to lift in a running shoe, in a basketball shoe, that's a lot of times what will happen. Now, those shoes have great benefit in what they're made for, but not necessarily made for this purpose.
And again, your argument might be, well, isn't training on an unstable surface beneficial because it's going to work your stabilizers more? That's not really the case when you're trying to generate as much force, as much torque, and as much power as possible, and create that stable environment to allow you to generate that force through the ground. When you're training on that surface, you can see how he's moving around. He's not able to stabilize himself very well, and in doing that and creating that unstable surface, you're not going to be able to move as heavy a load as easily while maintaining good positions with your body. So what we recommend is moving to more of a flat-soled, hard-soled shoe so you can better drive that force through the floor. And a lot of times when we start with clients and they come in and they are wearing that running type shoe or that cross-training basketball shoe, we'll actually get them to remove their shoes and just lift in their bare feet or in their socks so they can actually feel what it feels like to generate and push that force through the floor. So yeah, a good starting type shoe would be, we like just a Chuck Taylor type shoe. So you can see how the sole is flat. There's very minimal amount of sole. You're better able to drive that force through the floor.
I myself, I use just a Chuck Taylor knockoff that I got on Urban Planet for like 10 bucks. I use those for almost a year because they're cheap and they're flat, and it's close to mimicking that barefoot or socked foot squat or deadlift.
Another good option would be the Vibram 5-finger shoes, again mimicking that barefoot type stance, minimizing the amount of sole on that shoe, minimizing the amount of cushion so you're better able to drive that force through the floor. The other option that we have here, and this is more of a specialty type shoe that you would see in Olympic weightlifting or powerlifting, where it has that very hard sole, but it's also got a raised heel. And Denny's just going to talk about why maybe someone would utilize that and why that might be important. Again, this would be more of an advanced option. Not everyone needs to go out when they're learning how to weight train and get an Olympic weightlifting or powerlifting shoe, but why would this be beneficial?
Famous quote by Louis Simmons, don't have a $300 shoe and a 10-cent squat. But when you get serious into what you're doing, these can be super beneficial in how they slightly change the movement. So with the raised heel, for one, it helps you with your mobility, right? You'll be able to hit a nice deep squat a little easier than in something flat. But also with that raised heel, it allows you to really drive the weight back and keep your center of gravity better than in something flat like the Chuck, where the base of support is completely uniform. So by having that little raise, you sit into the squats a little bit better, and for a lot, we'll say most people, it'll lead to better squatting in the end, both in terms of their numbers and in terms of their mechanics.
So that's just a little bit on footwear, a really, really simple change that you can make, where you can definitely see some improvements in your lifting mechanics, your lifting technique, and the amount of strength and force that you can develop on those compound lifts where you are focused on driving that force through the floor. just a little simple tweak. Give it a try. See if you notice a benefit. We've run some clients through it and just made the tweak to the footwear, and they've seen huge changes and seen huge improvements in how they perform the lifts. So that's it for today, you guys. If you want us to do any other videos, any other educational videos, fire us an email or a message to results@trenchfitness.com, and we'll get it put up for you.
Thanks, Justin.
So,
Getting our education on.